Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Forton with Michigan Matters, and this is July 14, I believe, and 15th. Aha! I got a great producer here. So anyway, it's July 15th. We got a great guest today. Uh, Daniel Bartolotta is a candidate for County Commission in Macomb County District 1. Now, this is very important. It's very important to me, and I believe him too. We're going to talk about this race, and it is interesting because there is an incumbent and there's not an incumbent, but we're going to talk about that today. But anyway, I'd like to introduce you to Daniel. He's a great candidate and going to be a great representative for the people of northern Macomb County.
Daniel. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. I'm looking forward to having this interview with you. My first time here, obviously. But my candidacy is very important for our area, for all of Macomb, basically, because we currently have an appointee in position, and I don't believe in appointees. I think everybody should have a voice and a choice. And in this case, we never had a choice, and without a choice, you don't have a voice. So that's kind of why I got into this game.
You know, I can understand on some circumstances why you would have someone appointed to finish a term. Let's face it. Let's say, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let's say that an individual passes away or whatever the case may be, and the election's in 3 or 4 months. I could understand appointing someone to finish that. But this is an interesting situation, and it spills over into other situations. In that, the individual that had that seat for, oh my gosh, nearly 30 years. When I was chairman of the Macomb County Republican Party in 1994 to 6, the individual that held that position was newly elected as the county commissioner in District 1. I'm not sure if it was still District 1 back then, how things change over time. But he's been in that position for decades. So now, in the last election, he won, as always. No one even ran against him ever. He wasn't sworn in yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. He wasn't even sworn in yet, and he was offered a job by the drain commissioner. And he took it. And instead of having an election to replace him for the people of District 1, the county commission selected somebody. Now, there was a process, right?
There was a sham of a process. There was a sham of a process, yes.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a temporary appointment till of May of 2025. So they decided to have the person that they appointed get some name recognition out there. So they pushed it off for another year and a half. But it was supposed to technically be May of last year.
So the person they appointed naturally is part of the ruling elite of Macomb County, and one of them. So they appointed the person for the whole term, thereby making the person an incumbent with more name recognition and that type of thing. So I think that this is a very important race for that purpose because it spills over into others. For instance, our county clerk in Macomb County is running for Secretary of State. And I spoke with him about 3 weeks ago. And I said, Tony, if you win this race, Secretary of State, are we going to have an election for a county clerk? He said, no, it'll be appointed. So they've got this system going whereby we're taking the voice of the people of Macomb County, and I'm wondering if this is happening in other counties, maybe the county you're living in. This kind of thing, taking away it seems like every year there's less and less representative government. Now, according to Tony Forlini, if he were to win the Secretary of State's race, that the district judges will appoint. So I said to him, well, isn't that great? The district judge gets the representation in the county clerk's office, but not the people. And he said it's state law. So I'm assuming that they're using some kind of bogus state law in this position too. And so anyway, so this is, in my mind, has got to be corrected. And the best way to correct it is to find a true representative of the people and get them elected.
So when I started this journey out a year and a half ago, when Don Brown won, 2 days after he got elected, he announced that he was going to depart his position and leave it open. There would be an appointment process. So I read that in the paper and I heard it in social media. So I quickly got my name. I got out there to the county. I got letters of recommendation. And I was probably the best qualified candidate. There was great people too. There was Gene Zott. There was Troy Colso. There was Gary Kopp. There was some great people who applied for this. I was going to go and get this position no matter what it took with these guys. But when I met with every single one of those county commissioners, with the exception of 2, they all told me the same thing. They just want somebody who can get elected. They didn't care about what your credentials were, just name recognition and can you be elected over and over again. I thought that was kind of odd. That every one of them would tell me that. So when they all ask me the same thing is, if you don't get appointed, Dan, will you run in a special election? Will you run? I said, absolutely, I will, and I'll win. I said, and everyone I told that to, I will win. They said, well, it's going to be hard to beat an incumbent. I said, bring it on. I'll beat any incumbent you put in place.
But there wasn't an incumbent. There was a created incumbent.
There was an appointee. So fast forward a month later, when they had the appointment process took place, the comment was, well, it's not fair to the voters. It wasn't fair when Don dropped out, but it's not fair to the voters to have a special election in May. We're going to wait till next year, next August 4th, for a primary runoff. So that way I gave the time to my opponent to get his name out there, to get something done for the community if he did. But that's the way Macomb County thinks. That's the way our elites think, that we don't have a choice. We don't have a voice.
No.
And so they know who's better in that position than we do. And my opponent, not knocking him, but is he the best candidate? Let the voters decide.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we have in place right now. This is a process that Macomb County is really good at doing those appointments.
Mm-hmm.
If Anthony Florini is going to do the same thing, it's not right.
Yeah, that's right. It's not right. And I notice your opposition signs in the first district, because I'm in the first district a lot. And I see the signs, and it's all reelect, retain.
No, it's retain, not reelect. It's retain.
Yeah, retain.
Yeah.
So it's all that.
It should say retire.
Like, in other words, I'm the incumbent. Retain me, and also, so what has been your experience? Because I know you've been doing a lot in the district, a lot of campaigning, meeting people. So how's things going? What do the people say about all this?
I'm having a good time with it right now. I mean, a lot of people, and everybody who I talk to, they don't know. They think Don Brown's still the county commissioner. So when you tell somebody I'm running against Ken Goyke, they know the name, but they don't know who he is. They don't know what he done. But then when they research him, he's a career politician. So people aren't happy with that. They're not happy with career politicians. So the feedback I'm getting from the community is they don't know really who their county commissioner is. So they're looking for somebody. They're looking for somebody who's going to lead, and that's where I'm telling these people I'm going to lead. My journey started pure and simple with the process that they did was wrong. That's why I woke up on February 18th of this year. I was in a ticked off mood. I knew how they got away with it. They put an appointed person in there, and they plan on, after this appointed person's done, putting somebody else in there that they want. It's a sham on us. So fast forward, as my journey went on after February 18th, after I filed for county commissioner, it turned around April with these damn data centers. And the more I research these data centers, the more places I've gone, it's bad. They're bad for our community. So while my journey started out, I was doing the right thing for the people. It's turned now to trying to stop data centers at the county level. So I met with Senator Jim Rumstead, Ruth Johnson, a couple weeks back in Lansing at one of the rallies. Was probably the only candidate there that I've seen in our county. And Jim Rumstead, talking with him and Ruth Johnson at the county level, I can stop it. And I will stop it. I will stop these data centers. If nobody knows anything about data centers, reach out to me. I got my email. I could put stuff on the web for you people. There's a lot of stuff that tells you how bad these data centers are. And that's kind of what my charge right now is, stopping these data centers. They want to put one in New Haven, Richmond, and Washington Township. And while Washington Township has a moratorium on it, everybody's patting themselves on the back right now. they're still doing digging right now. They're digging on that property. They're moving dirt. And
And I can verify that because I know a farmer and outside of Armada.
Yep.
And he was approached by a contractor asking if he could use 1,000 yards of soil. And, like I guess most farms, they have low areas and high areas and whatever. And he said, yeah, I can. Where's it from? And the guy said, the Washington Township Data Center. So they can talk moratorium all they want, ladies and gentlemen, but they're going to try to stuff these things down our throats. Now, in the case of Washington Township, there had been revealed a whole lot of emails between the township supervisor and the data center people. And I guess they're quite telling. And I said publicly, I think on this broadcast, I said that if I lived there, I'd be starting a recall petition on everybody on that township board. And I'd start with the other board members. If you're not going to be the first one to sign this petition, we're going to recall you too. Because this guy running that township's got to go, in my opinion, because they're destroying. It's interesting how it's all farmland. Always farmland, no matter where you go. But anyway.
In those,
to
your point, I don't mean to interrupt you, but to your point, this will destroy the farmlands.
Yes.
These data centers will destroy the farmland.
And the area around them.
And it'll kill off people too. Ruth Johnson gave me some data that was done by independent studies, seven sources on it. It puts benzene in the atmosphere. And I don't know if you know anything about benzene. Research it if you don't. Benzene is very highly toxic. And a process is called blowdown. And blowdown is when they clean the systems out, the pipes and the water systems. It creates this benzene in the atmosphere. So nobody's talking about this except for me. I learned this through Ruth Johnson. She talked about it in Lansing. Nobody at the county level. I went to New Haven. They don't talk about it. They don't know about it. Washington Township don't know about it neither. So there's a lot of information out there people don't know, but yet they're trying to put them down our throats. So that's why I'm trying to fight these things.
So are you aware of the Macomb County Commission making any discussions about data center or your competition?
None whatsoever. My competition, the only thing he says is he actually took some words out of my context out of some word, and he kind of messed it up a little bit. On my flyer, I say, well, data centers could be good for business, big business, business. He took 3 words I said, and he sent out a text message saying that Dan's in favor of data centers. And he took those 3 words and said, for whose business? The billionaires? And so he's putting falseness out there about me, but he can get away with it because he took 3 words of mine and mixed them up. Either way, I am totally against data centers until we get a grasp on it, until they have regulations. There's no regulations, Mark. No regulations whatsoever. So if you're an automotive plant, yes, you have to have air sample testing, light test, quality testing, sound. There's all these regulations you have to have. Data centers have none of it, people. None of it. And if you don't believe me, I got the information right from the direct people. This is a bipartisan issue. Denise Metzler, and I think she's in Chesterfield, if I'm correct. She's a Democrat. She had a town hall meeting that I went to, and it was April 18th. There was only 8 people in attendance, and so, which was kind of good because we were able to ask a lot of questions for 3 to 4 hours that we were there. We were able to ask the developers of this from Michigan State who are building the Washington Township one questions about it. And with the information and the questions that we got from these people will scare the hell out of you. And they got the PowerPoint from Denise Metzler's office, and I put them on my website so everybody could see it. The information there is just scary. It will scare anybody who reads it. But people don't know that, and our township leaders, they're leading us.
They're all connected too. Yeah, you have the ruling class of Macomb County. Mm-hmm. And then, I know we're talking a lot about Macomb County, but we have these things being pushed everywhere, and it could be in your county too. Mm-hmm. And what about Saline? For instance, in Saline, of all things, they crammed it down these people's throats, and now they're trying to get the people to pay for it by giving them tax incentives. These multi-billion-dollar corporations, they want tax incentives in Saline Township. I mean, believe me, they'll do the same thing in Washington, they'll do the same thing in Ray, they'll do the same thing everywhere. So we all have to start looking at our county commissions, not just Macomb. Mm-hmm. These people are a united cabal, and that's why they have somebody running in the 59th House. They got a lady that's totally cannot even compare to Jean Zott that's running. a fantastic representative in the state house. She'd be fantastic if she could get there.
Oh, yeah.
But she's been out there campaigning for a long time, but the cabal had to have somebody to keep her out. So they got the township clerk's wife. He gets to count the ballots, and they got him, his wife running. And she might be a nice lady, but I'll tell you what, you compare the two, she will not debate anybody or anything. And you compare the two, every elected official in Macomb County knows that Jean Zott is a much better candidate for that position. But it don't matter. It's a danger to the cabal that runs the county. So check your county and ask and find out what's going on in your county commission. Because believe me, I'm sure Macomb is not an anomaly. Macomb has been developed this way over decades, but I'm sure we have a lot of counties, over 80 counties, and a lot of us are being ruled, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have representative government. So the township supervisor of Washington Township,
Sam Pavetti.
Yes, Sam Pavetti. He is definitely connected to the Macomb bunch that runs the county. Super connected. And also the law firm that is representing the people.
Taglia. I forget the
They're
name.
all connected too, to the whole bunch, including the Shelby Township leadership, the county leadership. It's a web. And they don't let nobody in. And that's the problem with Jean Zott. It's the problem with Terry McCoskey. It's the problem with you, is you're not part of that bunch. And they're not going to let them in. So us as voters, we have to start realizing and start paying attention to who we elect in primaries. It is critical that we win, that Republicans win in November. But the primary, we get to decide which Republicans. And we need real Republicans. We need representative government in Michigan desperately.
That's what we need, Mark. We need to have representation of the people, not of the cabal, as you say. We need representation of the people. When I win this, it's a 2-year stint to finish up Don Brown's 4-year term.
Mm-hmm.
When I win this, in 2 more years from now, I'm not a politician. If I stink at it, tell me, Dan, you stink at it, don't run again. I won't run again.
Mm-hmm.
But if I think I'm good and you still say I stink, I welcome the competition. I'm not going to bash you. I welcome the competition because it's going to make me better. And let the best person win. Let the people decide. But we don't have that right now in Macomb. We do not have that in Macomb.
In a lot of places in Michigan.
Yeah, in a lot of places in
You're
Michigan.
going to believe Saline and everything else. The people of Saline Township are not represented by anybody.
Nope.
And every other township that's getting this. So we're not just talking for Macomb here, because it's important. If this was not happening in Macomb, it's important it's happening to Saline. It's our neighbors. It's our farmland in the state. It's all that type of thing. So it's critical that this stuff is defeated, no matter where it sticks its ugly head up. So
and I want to work with the board. I don't want to work against them. I want to work with them. They're good people on there, but this controlling has to stop.
And maybe some of them don't like it. And if they had one person elected that beats the cabal, they might get more courage to stand up against it a little bit.
And we're doing this for the people. We're doing this for the people. It's not for ourselves. But if you get into politics for yourself, shame on you. We were supposed to be elected and then go back to our farmlands and go back to doing our regular jobs, not to get elected and stay there forever.
And then move on to the next one.
And move on to the next one.
Keep moving up the ladder.
That's not what this is about. That's not what I'm about. I don't need this position. I'm doing it for the right reasons. I was kind of irritated how we got an appointee put in there. So that's why I ran against him. I'm running against him, and I will win.
And then the data center thing.
And then the data center popped up, and again, I'm going to fight for it. And as long as I got to fight me, I'm going to fight. And that's what we need more people to step up. Not just me, but we need more people to step up. They're going to keep kicking us down. We just have to keep getting up and fighting, because if we don't, they win.
That's right.
We can't let them win.
So we have to vote too, because so many people don't vote in a primary. But a primary is just as critical as the November election. It's important who's running in the November election.
It's actually more important.
Yeah, because otherwise we're stuck with the same thing, holding our nose and everything else when we vote. Oh yeah, because the Republican's better than a Democrat. I mean, the Democrats, by the way, are communists. Pure and simple. The president himself are talking about it. He is talking about it more and more and more. They are. So even a local guy, like let's say Hertel, okay? We got to beat Hertel. We need a Republican in that seat. I hope and pray we can get a good Republican in that seat. But the thing is, Hertel, I don't care. Is he personally a communist? I don't think so. However, he sits idly by with his mouth shut. He doesn't say a word about the transgender grooming that's going on in the schools. He doesn't talk about our education system being, in Michigan's, 44 out of whatever. I mean, these Democrats got their mouth shut. Well, they're supporting communism. They're supporting the radical ones. It's like they're irrelevant, you might say, in the debate. But they will vote Democrat. They will vote for the people that support that garbage.
One thing I'm noticing, Mark, to your point about Democrats versus Republicans, a lot of Democrats I'm talking to, they're down the line now. The ones I'm talking to, the northern end, they vote down the line. They don't vote just Republican or Democrat.
The voters.
The people, yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about the elected people.
Correct. Yeah, the elected people.
Yeah, the voters. I'm a firm believer, and we have to go after the Democrat vote because they're people like us.
Some of the Democrats are great people that have been meeting out there.
Yeah, right.
I'm not afraid to knock on their doors too. I've been going.
Well, I'm glad you're correcting me on that because I did give an impression. You're right. I'm not talking about voters. I'm talking about these elected people.
It's their elected leaders that when they just click
they'll
the box
vote for
Democrat
because he's not talking about that crap, but he will not go against it either.
But I don't know what the answer is to that. Maybe more Republicans have to knock on their doors and stop shying away from Democrats because a lot of them tell me they'll vote down the middle, but a lot of times they just vote Democrat because their parents did it, the grandparents did it. They just don't know any good Republicans, they tell us.
Yeah, you remember what we did in 2000. I mean, in 2000, we focused on Democrat areas because I finally woke up. It took me forever. I'm 79 now. I finally woke up and realized that people are people. They got the same dang issues. And just because they vote Democrat all the time, don't make them bad people.
Right.
So we started doing door-to-door in nothing but Democrat areas. And look at, for the first time since 88, we got the majority of county commission, the majority of county-wides, everything but the sheriff office. I mean, super successful because we went to the people affected.
Yeah.
But we get people like the pundits say, oh, don't go to Warren. That's a Democrat area. That's their area. You don't even get anybody to run there.
No, you have to be there. Even if they don't win, you got to be there.
That's right.
You got to be there, and eventually they'll come on your side of the street.
That's right, because we talk common sense.
Yep. That's what I'm noticing. I knock on doors. I have a lot of Democrats. I got about 4 people right now. They're Democrats. I know one of them I used to work with, staunch Democrat. He's going to vote for me, and he normally wouldn't, but he likes them telling him.
So, are they going to vote for a guy that's going to help them defeat the data center in their area, which is District 1?
Yep.
Or are they going to vote for the guy with his mouth shut because he's all part of the team that are supporting it?
Well, he's got
because they are indirectly supporting it.
The guy I'm running against has a construction company, so he'll benefit off the data centers.
Oh boy, yep.
This should be illegal, by the way, but it doesn't matter with Macomb right now because.
Are there any other major issues in the area besides data centers that people bring up to you?
Yes, in the northern areas. When you go north of 30 Mile Road, I want to say 32 Mile Road, the back roads out there are terrible. But the main thing that I hear a lot from the farmers is their ditches, the roads out there, they're bad because they got trees growing in the ditches where water's supposed to funnel through the drains. The drains are very, very bad out there.
That's right. I had one individual I know, and you know him too. And he was saying the same thing about the ditches.
Their farms flood, so when they get heavy rains like we had a couple weeks back, their farms flood. They lose crops.
And yet, these elected officials in Macomb County, I'm talking about the current commission, they're setting it all up. This is what I've heard. I've heard this, and so you call it conspiracy theory, but a conspiracy theory usually takes 6 months to come out to be fact. But anyway. I heard they're working together, and it's going to be in the Macomb Daily, how the county commissioner that's running against Gene Zott is going to be coming out as a major hero, getting roads done in Shelby Township area, and going to get all the. You heard that too?
I've heard that too.
And going to get all the credit, how wonderful she'll be in the House. And yet in northern Macomb, they can't seem to talk about fixing bridges, roads, ditches, or nothing.
The roads they're bad out there. We had a couple of intersections too. One of the things I want to focus on is safety, big time safety in Macomb County North, and a 27-mile overpass on Van Dyke Freeway crosses over into Old Van Dyke. There's the accident there all the time. We had a fatality, probably 4 fatalities this year there, and every year we keep getting more and more because there's a traffic light there going over the freeway. people just don't stop. There needs to be a turnaround there. A lot of stuff that when you bring it up to the county, they just, because I'm not a seat of power, they just blow it off.
They'll use it when they can to get one of the people elected.
Yeah, correct. And those are going to be my priorities, because safety in our area has to be number one priority. And with the safety factor, it comes the data centers too. That's a safety factor for me. So my focus is on safety, pure and simple. The back roads with the drains out there, that's another focus I got to focus on. And those are the top priorities I hear from people. Our drains and our roads out there are bad. And then the data center, again, number one for everybody. And here's an interesting fact for you too. 86.6 people in Michigan, 86.6% of the people don't want data centers. So why are our leaders not listening to us?
Where is representative government in Michigan?
Where is our representative government? Where is it? Mm-hmm. That's a big number, 86.6%.
Better believe it is.
And those are facts, people. Those are facts.
Yeah. So anyway, so you want to take a couple minutes and just tell people about your campaign or whatever, sum things up, or?
Yeah, sum things up. Again, I started this out when Don Brown ran. He won. 2 days after he got elected, he decides to vacate the seat. So they made an appointment out of the whole process. I believe that we all need to have a voice and a choice, and we never had either. We got somebody in that seat right now who just will rubber stamp everything in front of them. I'm the guy that when you put a budget in front of me, I'm going to ask the hard questions. Again, it's not my money, it's your money, it's everybody's money. But I'm the guy who will ask the hard questions, why you need it, how you're going to use it, before I vote yes on giving it to you. I know that's not what the commissioners are about. That's not what they do over there, but that's how I want to be with the money. I'm going to treat it like it's mine and make sure that we're getting the most for our buck. And where the extra money can go be used for will be on the roads in northern Macomb. I want my area to be safer, cleaner, and be better for everybody, all county-wide. And I think I could set a good example for the rest of the commissioners to follow my lead. And that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm just going to do the right things for the right people. I don't need this position, but I'm doing it because I didn't like how they got one over on us. And then again, now my whole mission turned to really public safety with the data center. So it's kind of where I'm at, Mark. It's kind of my position.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Best wishes.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to go to michiganmatters.org, and you can find out events and things like that, and news and information. You can sign up for our newsletter if you're so inclined and want to help us out a little bit. That'd be great. I know things are tight right now, but if you can help us a little bit, we don't need a great deal, but every little bit does really help keep this going. And please, if you're watching it on YouTube, please like and share it, and share this information everywhere the best you can, Facebook and everywhere, so people can see cases like this, how Dan is and what he wants to run on, and so on and so forth. So anyway, thank you so much for being with us today, and we will see you again soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.